Anxiety isn't your enemy. It's your map. What if I told you your anxiety isn't a malfunction? It's a message, not a flaw to fix, but a flare in the dark, pointing towards something that matters. We're taught to numb it, silence it, swipe it away like a glitchy app. But what if anxiety is actually your inner compass? Spinning wildly, yes, but trying to point you somewhere you need to go. Picture it like this. You're standing in a dense forest, fog curling at your feet, and your chest tightens. That feeling, that's not a wall, it's a trailhead. Kierkegaard called anxiety the dizziness of freedom. It shows up right when you're facing real choices, real change, when life cracks open and dares you to move. You feel anxious not because something's wrong with you, but because something's about to change in you. And yeah, it's uncomfortable. It should be. Growth isn't spa music and scented candles. It's more like tearing through underbrush with your bare hands. But you've got to stop treating anxiety like an enemy. It's not here to trap you. It's here to wake you up. And the more you listen to it, not obey it, but listen, the more it starts revealing where you're stuck and where you're meant to go. Because here's the truth no one tells you. The body often knows the way before the mind catches up. So the question is, are you brave enough to follow it? Let's dig deeper. Society trains you to run, not grow. Why is it that the moment you start feeling uncomfortable, really alive in the discomfort, someone tries to sell you a pill, a plan, or a productivity app? Think about it. You're not taught to face your inner storms. You're taught to scroll them away, numb them, work through them like they're just another calendar item. This isn't self-care. It's self-sedation, and it's not an accident. Modern society runs like a factory. It wants you efficient, predictable, on time. But growth? Real growth? That's messy, it's slow, it breaks your schedule, and makes you question everything. So instead of teaching you how to sit with pain, with confusion, with not knowing, you're taught to run. Fast. Into deadlines, into dopamine hits, into endless loops of what's next. Nietzsche warned us about this. He wrote about the last man, a kind of neutered, comfort-addicted creature who's lost all hunger for transformation. He doesn't suffer, sure, but he doesn't live either. Sound familiar? You've been trained to fear the dark, when really, that's where your roots grow. You've been rewarded for keeping it together, when sometimes what you need is to fall apart. Here's the twist. The discomfort you're trying to avoid? It's the doorway. It's not a detour. It's the damn curriculum. Society says, stay busy. But growth says, get still. Society says, fix it fast. But growth says, feel it fully. So now I'm asking you, what would happen if you stopped running? What might you finally hear in the silence? Because once you stop escaping, the real work begins. Let's go there next. Ancient fear, modern discomfort. Why does your chest tighten before a big presentation or your stomach drop when you open that email with urgent in the subject line? It's not just stress. It's something older, something ancient. You're carrying instincts wired into your nervous system thousands of years ago, back when fear meant life or death. Back when a rustle in the tall grass could mean a predator, not a push notification. See, anxiety wasn't always this nebulous modern-day monster. It was a survival mechanism. If your ancestors didn't feel anxious, they got eaten. Simple as that. That tightness in your gut? That was the body saying, move, act, survive. But now, the predator isn't a saber-toothed tiger. It's your boss. It's your mortgage. It's your own reflection asking, is this it? The machinery hasn't changed, but the world has. You're built for threat detection, But now the threats are abstract. Emails, deadlines, meaninglessness. That's where the existential dread kicks in. Kierkegaard, again, saw this coming. He said anxiety was the price of being conscious, not just reacting, like animals, but reflecting, imagining, wanting more. It's not just fear, it's fear with imagination. And that's a whole different beast. Today's discomfort isn't just chemical, it's existential. You're not scared of dying in the woods. You're scared of living a life that doesn't mean anything, that you'll play it safe, follow the rules, and still feel empty. And society's solution? Medicate it, manage it, monetize it. But what if anxiety isn't a bug in your system? What if it's the last honest signal that something's off, that you're out of sync with your own damn soul? You can't out-evolve your biology, but you can learn to work with it, to decode the signals instead of shutting them down. The real question is, are you willing to sit with that ancient fear long enough to hear what it's trying to say? Because up next, we're talking about what it really means to be free. Jung's shadow, anxiety as a signal. Why does anxiety seem to strike hardest when you're alone, quiet, or right on the edge of something important? It's not random. It's not just your brain glitching, it's something deeper, something Jung called the shadow. The parts of you you've buried, denied, or shoved into the basement of your psyche because they didn't fit your nice, polished image of who you think you're supposed to be. From a young age, you start building what Jung called the persona, your social mask. The good student, the reliable employee, the cool friend. And it works for a while. You learn what gets praise and what gets punished. You curate yourself like a brand. But everything that doesn't make the cut, the anger, the fear, the desire, the raw, unfiltered truth of who you really are, that gets pushed into the shadow. Out of sight, but never out of mind. And here's the kicker. The more you repress it, the louder it gets, not in words, but in symptoms. Anxiety, nightmares, emotional outbursts, a gnawing sense that something's off, even when everything looks fine. That's your shadow banging on the walls, demanding to be seen. Jung didn't see anxiety as a malfunction. He saw it as a messenger, a signal that there's something inside you that needs integrating, not eliminating, integrating. That's the process of individuation, not becoming perfect, but becoming whole. Letting go of the idea that you have to be just one thing, or always together. Real growth means dragging that shadow into the light, sitting with it, listening to what it's trying to tell you, even when it scares the hell out of you. Because anxiety often is fear, but not of failure, not really. It's fear of being seen, of facing the parts of you that don't match the script you've been performing for everyone else. But what if those parts are where your power actually lives? You want freedom? You won't find it in perfection. You'll find it in integration. When you stop fighting your inner chaos and start mining it for meaning, so the next time anxiety rises up like a wave, don't just run. Ask it, what truth am I avoiding? Because what you repress owns you. But what you face, that's where your transformation begins. Next, let's talk about the high cost of pretending everything's fine, when deep down, you know it's not. You are afraid of yourself. Here's a hard truth most people don't want to admit. You're not afraid of the world. You're afraid of yourself. Not the self you post online. Not the version you present in interviews or first dates. I'm talking about the real, unfiltered you. The parts that want things you're not supposed to want. The voice inside that says, break the rules, speak up, walk away. And maybe even scarier, the part that whispers, you could be so much more. It's wild, isn't it? We say we fear failure, but success? Real, full-bodied, soul-level success. That's even more terrifying, because it would mean shedding your excuses, owning your weirdness, risking rejection, and stepping into something bigger than your comfort zone. That kind of self-confrontation, it's not just uncomfortable, it's revolutionary. Jung once said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. And you see that every day, in the endless distractions, in the way we keep ourselves busy instead of still, safe instead of honest. You fear the dark corners of your psyche not because they'll destroy you, but because they'll change you. And that's the real threat, isn't it? The shadow you've been avoiding, it holds not just your shame, but your potential, your creativity, your fire, your power. But you have to go there. You have to crack open the shell of who you think you are and risk becoming someone you've never been. Because the scariest thing in the world might just be the version of you that's actually free. Let's look at why we spend so much time pretending everything's fine, when deep down, we know it's not. Don't cope, integrate. You don't need more coping strategies. You need integration. Coping gets you through the day, but it won't change your life. It's like patching a leaky boat when the real issue is the ocean inside you. You've never dared to map. This is where Jung's work becomes more than just theory. It becomes a practice. He didn't want you to suppress your fear or slap a positive affirmation over your panic. He wanted you to face it, engage it, talk to it. That's what active imagination is all about. You sit down, close your eyes, and let your unconscious speak, not with logic, but with symbols, images, stories. You dialogue with your shadow. You ask, what do you want from me? And sometimes the answer will shake you. Other times, it'll save you. Shadow work isn't about turning darkness into light. It's about learning to walk in both. You write down your fears. You track your emotional reactions. You notice when you overreact and ask, what part of me felt threatened? That's not weakness. That's alchemical strength, turning inner chaos into insight. Facing the dragon, as Jung called it, not to kill it, but to become it, to absorb its fire. And no, it's not clean, it's not quick, but it's real. You stop being a puppet of your pain. You become a co-creator with it. Because the parts of you you've been avoiding, that's your raw material. That's where your gold is buried. So stop asking how to cope. Ask how to transform. Stop managing symptoms and start exploring their message. Because once you commit to this path, once you choose integration over sedation, the whole game changes. Next, let's break down what becoming whole really means, and why most people secretly fear it more than staying broken. Power lies in what you avoid. Real power doesn't come from control. It comes from clarity, and that clarity, it lives in the very things you're avoiding. The stuff you shove down, laugh off, edit out. That's where your strength is hiding, but only if you're willing to look. You've been taught that power means domination. Control your emotions, control your time, control yourself. But that kind of power, it's brittle. It snaps the second life throws something unpredictable at you. Real power, the kind that lasts, comes from knowing what's really going on inside you. Not performing strength, but earning it through radical self-honesty. Think about it like this. If your mind is a house, your shadow is the basement. You can keep locking the door, pretending it's empty. But it's not. There are voices down there. Memories, desires, patterns you haven't owned yet. And the longer you avoid them, the more control they have. That's the paradox. What you refuse to face ends up running the show. But when you open that door, when you walk into that dark room with a flashlight and say, "All right, let's talk," everything shifts. You don't become perfect. You become aware, strategic, calm under pressure, not because you're numb, but because you've met your monsters already, and you're not scared of them anymore. Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. That's where real psychological power begins. Not in hiding your flaws, but in understanding them. Not in pretending to be fearless, but in becoming familiar with your fear. You want influence, confidence, clarity? It starts with owning what you've been avoiding. And next, we're going to talk about the final piece. Why becoming whole isn't about being good, it's about being real. Stop running. Become who you are. So here's the truth, stripped bare. You can't become who you are while running from yourself. You've tried the distractions, the overthinking, the self-help rabbit holes. But none of it works until you stop, turn around, and face what's chasing you. That tension in your chest? That anxiety gnawing at you when the room gets quiet? It's not trying to break you, it's trying to wake you. It's a knock at the door from the parts of you that are done being buried. Your fear, your grief, your anger, yeah, even your desire. They're not flaws, they're invitations. To grow, to stretch, to evolve. Philosopher Heidegger talked about becoming, not as a destination, but as a way of being in the world. It starts not when everything makes sense, but when you dare to stay with the discomfort long enough to hear what it's asking of you. You want meaning? Then stop chasing the life you think you should live and start listening to the one that's trying to emerge from within. Because at the end of the day, the only way out is through. Not around, not above, through. So don't numb it, don't fight it, feel it, integrate it, let it reshape you. And in that fire, piece by piece, become who you are.